Good morning, Westeros.
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kyle. And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners, and we got Arya VIII on deck. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Pretty good. Long day.
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Long day today. Kyle, what do you think of the chapter?
Man, I didn't like this one. I don't know. It kind of...
Why not?
It felt so forced to me. Like...
What?
Oh no, she just happens to run away into the Hound's hands at the end. I don't know. It seemed dumb to me.
So when I do talk about this chapter, like even I'm sure like to Jeff, I was like, yeah, the next chapter is the one where she gets caught by the Hound. But like that's like literally like the last paragraph of the page. Most of the chapter isn't really about that.
You got some old witch stuff. You got some fire stuff.
Well, yeah. So
yeah.
Let's just get into it because I have questions, I guess, right? And
all right.
Why get off track?
We start this chapter back at High Heart, which is where the old Woods lady's at. Nels, right?
Yep, the Ghost of High Heart. I don't think they ever call her that here, but that's like kind of what like she's known as in the fandom is the Ghost of High Heart. And I think
no map time.
She's called that earlier. We can pull up the map now. It's a good time because I don't think they ever like specifically talk about it again. Kind of like the Dany one.
Well, they were here before, right?
Correct. We've met with this lady before.
Yeah.
What news did she have that time?
I'll have to go back and look at that because I actually don't have that offhand.
Wow, you never prepared.
But so here's where we're at, right? So she was near Stony Sept at one point. She went down at least as far south. The Hollow Hill where she met Beric and them was down there somewhere. And yeah, now they're back up at the High Heart, which makes sense because right, their destination is they're trying to make it to River Run.
She's just tracing her steps, man. That's got to be the most aggravating part for her.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's the other thing to mention while we have the map up is later on towards the very end, she's like, fuck, I should have just not brought Gendry, not brought Hot Pie. I'd just be there by now. Like, we wouldn't have got caught. We'd just be there by now. And there's a few times where she just like, not even like not brought them. I think at a different point in the chapter, she mentions like, I wish we never would have got caught, me, Hot Pie, and Gendry, because we'd just be there by now. Because Jeff's right. She's just gone so far out of the way and now they're just trying to make it back.
Wandering around. Her whole story has been just this awful...
Wander the riverlands, yeah.
Nomadic.
Since, all of book 2 and 3 so far.
Yeah. All right. So they get up to the top. It's kind of windy, really windy actually. As she mentions, it feels like ghosts are pulling on her. And she can see a storm is coming from the north, but it's not storming there yet. They set up camp. Thoros makes a fire, and he's just staring into it. We get the first little bit is just kind of finding out a little bit more about Thoros here.
Yeah, one thing that's weird is like when she's standing on the stump, like kind of looking out at like the wind blowing and stuff. She says that they're above the rain, but then it starts raining later and they go to take shelter. So
maybe at the time they were like, I don't know, maybe
probably
it was
right,
just an
like,
illusion.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of funny that they pointed to that same storm going on that we know about. It seems like at least right. She could see that way off in the distance.
One that Bran was just. What's the timeline, Nels?
Well, that storm is way up north. I don't think there's any chance she'd be able to see that. But I mean, I guess if the front is moving down, right? If it like the storm is going north to south, or even it could be going south to north in the time, like you're saying, the time this chapter could just be earlier in the time.
I don't know. It felt like that was kind of what she was definitely that phrase was hinting at, right? It was like she could see a nasty storm off to the north or something like that. It seemed like it was pointing to those past two chapters.
So he's staring at the flames, or it's like that's the only thing that exists when he's looking in there. Like he's not even like blinking or like losing concentration there. And they kind of talk about him, and then Gendry's just like, "Yo, can you see the future? Like, what's going on in there?"
Yeah,
and he doesn't really say yes, but
he says the Lord sometimes grants him visions.
Does that mean it could be like? Does it have to be the future? Could it be the present? Could it be the past?
He said all of that. He said the past, the future,
Ned
things happening
that.
far away.
Did he?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, when Ned was explaining to Arya,
Ned don't know shit.
Why he's staring in the flames.
He's just a liar.
I mean, Thoros even did then say, some days, yes, Lord Light grants me vision. So, like, he does say that he can see the future. And I was going to say, we learn a little later on that he's probably not going to see anything here because like it's related to his religion, and this is a very, very holy place for another religion, right? Like, so
exactly, which I think that's a really interesting point. I was going to bring it up when we got to it later, but I think it fits well here too, because they're saying the same thing. Like, he's not really seeing anything right now, and later she's like, the old lady's basically like, yeah, you're not going to see anything, not here. So yeah, this is where Gendry's like, it's like he's surprised that Thoros actually has like some powers, because
He was
like,
such
my
a
master-
shitty ass
I heard
red priest from his master.
Yes, he said you're a fraud, and he's like, "Who's your master? Do I know who you were?" And he's like, "Tobo Mott, the guy in King's Landing making swords."
Guy making all your burned swords. He was just mad that he was burning all of his work.
Yeah,
But like, what better customer, right? Like, this guy is coming back.
Yeah, he's always coming
that's true.
back.
He's coming back every week. That's
and
true.
you're charging him double
And
what
he's
it's
paying
worth. That's
double.
what he says. Yeah.
You should be welcoming him back with open arms.
So this is where we get Thoris's backstory for the first time, which I think is interesting
Well,
too.
we also,
Yeah.
I think this might come back to Gendry a little bit here, right? Like, as of now, he's kind of unknown.
Yes,
But
Yes.
if he starts like dropping this kind of stuff, right? Like,
What, like, his...
it kind of got close to like him figuring, not close to figuring out Rob was his dad, or Robert was his dad, but like, it's definitely kind of the pathway. It feels like it was starting down that path a little bit.
he's also a wanted man.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Because
it'd be
he's-
hard for people to figure out he was Robert's bastard. But except for the queen is looking for a boy with a bull's head helm. If he like was like, oh, I made this bull's head helm, and they're
Yeah,
we're
he
like, wait,
starts
that's
whispering
literally the only
around.
thing they know about this wanted
Yeah.
man is he has this bull head helm. So if he starts telling the story about like being an armor, making the bull's head helm,
Doesn't
that's the only thing
he
I can
know
see
that they're
piecing it
looking
back.
for-
Connecting him
that-
to Robert would be really tough because I think basically. Unless you can take that step, right? Why is Cersei searching for a bastard with a bull's head helm?
I mean,
Because
I guess
it's,
the thing is, and I guess Ned had better resources as well, but
Well, Ned knew.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
'cause
It's
he
like
knows
it
what
was
Robert
figured
looks
out,
like,
right?
and-
Like, so like we have seen it get figured out. But you're right. Like, I mean, Ned also looked at bastard A, B, C, D, E, and F and put it together, not
Exactly.
You'd have
you
to
know,
learn about
bastards
all
Z
the
out in the
things
woods.
that, like, why Ned was looking into it, though, too. Like, John Aaron was murdered,
exactly.
type of
That's-
thing, and what was he murdered
It's just one of the things
for?
that we know, but it would be really hard for the other characters around Gendry to
Isn't it also, like, he knows that Cersei's looking for him because of the bullhead helm, right? Like, wasn't that the announcement? Like, we're looking for the guy with the helmet. Like,
So
you would
that's an interesting
think
point,
that
like,
he would be like,
he
yeah,
doesn't know
I'm
why
going to
he's
keep that
wanted.
to myself. I know he doesn't know why, but he's not going to go. He shouldn't go around broadcasting like, yeah, I made this sick bullhead helmet once for
Yeah,
myself.
exactly.
When that's like the
Yeah,
one
exactly.
identifying mark. But yeah, so Thoris's backstory. Let's hear it.
Pretty cool. I was born youngest of 8, so my father gave me over to the Red Temple, but it was not the path I would have chosen. I prayed the prayers and I spoke the spells, but I would also lead raids on the kitchen, and from time to time they found girls in my bed. Such wicked girls, I never knew how they got there. I had a gift for tongues, though, and when I gazed into the flames, well, from time to time I saw things. Even so, I was more bother than I was worth, so they sent me finally to King's Landing, to bring the Lord's light to the 7 bestowed Westeros. King Ares so loved fire, it was thought he might make a convert. Alas, his pyromancers knew better tricks than I did. Robert liked him, though. We've heard this before. We've heard this part of his story before.
Yeah,
Him and Robert were great friends.
He made Kevin Lannister
Just because
shit
they were
himself.
both
Yeah, he's
drunks.
a partier. Yeah.
Yeah, and then his first melee, he scared Kevin Lannister's horse, got him knocked off, make Robert laugh so hard.
Thoros then agrees to Gendry, like, yeah, me lighting all those swords on fire, like, not the best way to treat a sword. Cool party trick, though.
And he was kind of like a fraud priest back then too.
Yeah.
He's like, your master was right. I was a fraud.
And he even said that before. Like, that's kind of and when they're in the hole,
Yeah.
whatever you call that place, I forget. But they were down there, he kind of admits to that, right? Like, he's like, I used to be a piece of shit, but the stuff's working now, so maybe.
Yeah.
And
And then
this is
weird
where
ass Barrack
creepy
pops
ass
up out of
Barrack.
nowhere. Yeah.
Fire
Fucking
consumed.
Standing
weirdo.
back.
Talk about a ghost of High Heart, man. Fuck out of here.
It consumes, and when it's done, there's nothing left. Nothing.
6 times is too much. All right, so later that night, old witch lady pops up, and she meets with Barrack, Thoros, and Lem, I want to say.
I was gonna say we get some nicknames for these people, right? The Ember, the Lemon. Those are pretty obvious. But then she calls Barrack the Lord of
Dead one?
Corpses, which is
The Lord
pretty
of Corpses.
pretty sweet name. I mean, he's not so amped about
doesn't
it.
like
He's
it,
like,
yeah.
that is ill-omened. Shut up.
He just
Stop
wants to
calling
be
me.
dead at this point. Just kill me.
And she says the smell of death is fresh on him, which is why she's calling him that. And also, she only has one tooth. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but Arya knows she only has one tooth. So she's super old, only 3 feet tall, crazy thin, long
White hair.
red eyes.
She claims to be thousands of years old or something, at least 1,000.
So it's interesting, right? Because they call her the Ghost of High Heart. She has red eyes, pale milk skin, and like, do we know
And
anybody
white
like
hair.
I was just say you're trying to connect this to Ghost. I mean, she even says
Exactly.
that too.
I mean, Yeah, Arya connects it to ghosts.
Oh, yeah, Arya connects
it's
it to
written in the
ghosts.
chapter. All right, so he's like, all right, we'll give you a silver for your news. And she's like, I
Yep.
want a sack of wine and a nasty sloppy kiss from Lem.
from Lem. Yes.
Like, I don't think so. Lem doesn't want to.
Lem's like, no way, you're getting the flat of my blade. That's it. She's like, okay, then I'll have a song from Tom.
She gave up on that pretty fast.
He calls her like a crone, and like, he's not really nice to her, Lem.
Yeah, this is where I want to go back and look a little bit at the last time we saw her, because I feel she definitely got this song last time.
Yeah, the same song you're saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, they even...
It looks like it's only one real quote, so I'm going to read it real quick. So this is what we saw of her last time. Beside the embers of their campfire, she saw Tom, Lem, and Greenbeard talking to a tiny little woman, a foot shorter than Arya and older than old Nan, all stooped and wrinkled and leaning on her gnarled black cane. Her white hair was so long that it came almost to the ground. When the wind gusted, it blew about her head in a fine cloud. Her flesh was whiter, the color of milk, and it seemed to Arya that her eyes were red, though it was hard to tell from the bushes. The old gods stir and will not let me sleep, she heard the woman say. I dreamt I saw a shadow with a burning heart butchering a golden stag. I dreamt of a man without a face waiting on a bridge that swayed and swung. On his shoulder perched a drowned crow with seaweed hanging from his wings. I dreamt of a roaring river and a woman that was a fish. Dead she drifted with red tears on her cheeks. But when her eyes did open, oh, I woke from terror. All this I dreamt and more. Do you have gifts for me? To pay me for my dreams? Dreams, grumbled Lemon Coke. What good are dreams? Fish woman and drowned crows? I had a dream myself last night. I was kissing this tavern wench I used to know. Are you going to pay me for that, old woman? The wench is dead, the woman hissed. Only worms may kiss her now. And then to Tom Seven String she said, I'll have my song, or I'll have you gone. So the singer played for her, so soft and sad that Arya only heard snatches of the words, though the tune was half familiar. Sansa would know it, I bet. Her sister had known all the songs, and she could even play a little, and sing so sweetly. All I could ever do was shout the words. The next morning, Arya asked Tom if the children of the forest still lived at High Heart.
I was going to say, she seems pretty good at her job. I mean, she's been right out about a lot of this stuff.
What did she say that was right?
Well, like the shadow with the burning heart killed a golden stag, right? So that's Renly getting killed.
That was Renly. Yep.
Faceless man on a bridge. Drowned man with the crow. What was that one again?
I dreamt a man without a face waiting on a bridge that swayed and swung. On his shoulder perched a drowned crow with seaweed hanging from his wings.
Yeah, that one I don't know 100%. I guess like it seems like somebody from the wall ends up drowned with Theon or something. Who knows, right?
Okay.
This time she says some other stuff that seems pretty on track too, with like Hoster's dead. She says something.
That's
We
true.
get a little bit of news from her. Yeah, that the king is dead and it's Theon's dad, right?
That's true. Yes, that is true.
So that's news to us.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going in
Okay.
this one. We'll get to there so we don't miss anything.
Okay. Well, you asked why I thought she was good. She seems on point
yeah.
so far from what I've seen.
She is definitely an interesting character, like one of the most interesting characters. I'll tell you, the fans arguing about this lady for sure. So also, yeah, the reason I brought it up there was because of the song. So like, we don't get the words of the song here or in that last one. We just heard that it was like a sad song. And she.
Do we know the title?
Thing.
Did it say the title?
I don't even think we know the title, but it's referred to what she calls it here. Yeah, so we'll get there. Bear gave her the wine and promised a song.
Sour wine for sour tidings. The king is dead. Whoa!
Arya gets scared for a second because she's thinking,
Hold on. Turn it back.
One of those is my brother.
Which king? Which king we talk? Or was it Joffrey, the one that she's been like complaining about on her list?
Yeah, maybe that's why her heart caught in her throat.
True.
Yeah.
I would think he would be the first one that comes to mind when you think of king.
Joffrey. Yeah.
He's the one sitting on the throne.
I think of the one true King Stannis.
I think of the Ghost King Renly.
That's where my allegiances lie, but everybody knows actually more on the Baratheon sigil on the freaking.
Shut up, Nelson.
It's the Kraken King.
I dreamt him dead and he died.
Yep. And Iron Squids now turn on one another.
Which would make sense, right? Like, so the brother and sister, I forget her name at this point.
Theon is the brother who we used to get POV chapters from, but we haven't heard of since Winterfell was taken.
Yeah, his sister.
Asha,
yeah.
But who's she fighting with? You said the brother and the sister. We don't know where Theon's at.
Him fighting each other.
Okay.
What are you talking about? It says the Iron Squids now turn on one another. So, like, they were both vying for the power after, like, that was the whole
I'm
Theon
saying
arc.
Theon's potentially dead. Asha is a girl, doesn't count.
I think
Balon has
you're
multiple brothers that could be fighting for it.
Yeah.
Or just like, who knows, maybe just civil war. Like one of the houses is like, you know what, I'm in charge now.
All of them are, I'm sure. But remember, that was like Theon's whole arc was
That's
like,
true.
he's like,
That's
I'm
true.
next in line. I got to come back and be next in line. And she said, no, I'm next in line. That was like the whole thing was, I don't know why you're trying to
I'm
act
just
like
saying we've never just stopped getting POV chapters from a character before. And Theon was in like a potentially...
But how do we know they stopped?
That's true. I mean, we haven't
We just haven't gotten one in a while.
That's true. It's true.
But we're only on like Bran 4 or something, or one of the Danny 4. Like, who knows?
Okay.
All right, so the squids are fighting on each other. Next is Old Man Tully croaked.
Yep.
He's gone. And in the Hall of the Kings, the goat sits alone, and fevered as the great dog descends on him.
So who's the goat?
I'm not going to tell you, but let's riddle this one out. The Hall of Kings, the goat sits
Well, I
alone
meant, like, who's-
as the fevered great dog descends on him. I almost just said who I think it is, but
Well, so like, is somebody sigil the goat?
his banners have a goat on them. I wouldn't call them. I guess you would call it a sigil. It's
Is that
unique.
Vargo?
Yeah, they call Vargo the goat.
Yeah.
And his sigils have
Yeah.
the black goat of Qohor, which is like a religious symbol from the land he's from, which is partly why they call him the goat.
Is the Hall of Kings Heron Hall?
That's what that would be if you're context clues. That's where Vargo's at.
If you think it's the goat.
And then as the great dog descends in.
The great dog descends on him. So is the Hound going after him?
I think both of Arya's thoughts are plausible, right? And we know that Gregor is around the Riverlands, like cleaning up the leftover Northmen who are at Dusk
because
and
that could be
Vale.
their sigil. Yeah.
Yep. So
All right, and then she keeps going. She keeps cooking. Wolf howling in the rain. I dreamt of a wolf howling in the rain, but no one heard his grief.
Well, I mean, that's like could be any of them. My thought on that one would be John. I knew you guys would want like.
keep going.
Keep going. All right. I dreamt such a clangor, I thought my head might burst. Drums and horns and pipes and screams, but the saddest sound was the little bells.
See, the little bells. The only thing I can think of with that is like, what's her name? Danny has bells in her hair, but
Danny had 2 in her hair, and that just happened. That was brought up last chapter.
That's what that line makes me think of too. And again, I will say, like, I think some of this stuff is still up in the air.
even
where,
now, yeah.
like where Jeff and I are at in the books, exactly. So I'm not gonna tell you which ones, but
I dreamt of a maid at a feast with purple serpents in her hair, venom dripping from their fangs.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck is that? Right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't even.
that's what's so exciting is like when you have some prophecies or like prophecies or visions or shit like this. After someone's like bang, 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 bang on all this shit that like these characters don't know, but we know is pretty much true, right? Like the Hoster thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. It lends credence to a lot of
Exactly. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't know, but it's gonna be cool when we find out.
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking it's like
I think
poison
it's just
darts
Medusa
or
pops in,
something,
new character.
Yeah, exactly.
New character POV. Next chapter is Medusa.
All right, next
All
one.
right, and later I dreamt that maid again, slaying a savage giant in a castle built of snow.
Yeah, I mean, like, who's that far north? That's what's weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's her name? Ygritte?
Ygritte, there you go.
All right, you can't hide from me, child. Get on out here.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah,
she
Weird.
spots
She
Arya.
just felt her.
She like turns her head at her real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a
that's
scary movie, exactly.
Yeah.
I would have jumped if it was a scary movie.
Locks
I'm not good
on.
at scary movies.
No, man, fear cuts deeper than swords. Can't be afraid.
Yep, that's what she thinks. Little Sirio hype up. And then what's the ghost say to her?
I see you, wolf child, blood child. I thought it was the Lord who smelled of death. You are cruel to come to my hill, cruel. I gorged on grief at Summerhall. I need none of yours. Begone from here, Darkheart. Begone.
She did not like Arya being there.
First off, yeah, the whole fact that like she's calling like Arya like blood child and stuff, which I think kind of makes sense. But like even later, Arya's like when she's talking to Ned, she's like, "I killed a guy at 8. Like you're weird for not having ever killed anybody, being only 12. I'm at like 6 or 7 or whatever."
She has a list of multiple names that she's either killed or responsible for killing.
Yeah, so I think that's interesting, but I think it makes sense. But what I thought is like reason I think this quote's interesting is because something we heard in the last chapter, right? We heard Rhaegar is very sad and like he's melancholy and
At
he has a sense of
Summerhall, his
doom.
grief.
And his favorite place was Summerhall, but it was like that's where he was born, but like something bad happened there. And now she's saying, "I gorge on grief at
And it was
Summerhall."
ruins, right?
Yeah, it's ruins now. He would go back to the ruins and write songs and play his harp.
So
Play
it sounds
his
like
harp.
she was there. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Exactly. So Not that was super, super long ago. It wasn't 800 years ago, so it doesn't like give credence that she's super, super old. But I think it's interesting that like a crazy witch lady.
Well, maybe she was there with Rhaegar, gorging on his grief.
Yeah, but it's like one of those things. It's like it's why I like House of the Dragon, because like it seems like if magic is related to dragons, not like there was dragons back then, but that theoretically, like back in the heyday when dragons were around, like was magic just like anyone who died just getting picked up by any religion? You know what I mean? Like just because there's so much.
It's like Hogwarts.
Because it seems like there is that they've made that correlation. Like even the pyromancers, when wildfire starts working again, they're able to make wildfire.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, are dragons around? Because our magic and like our spells are working again. And now like
we're back, man. Our production has picked up tenfold.
So it's like interesting because maybe this lady, on the contrary, was just useless back then, or not useless, but just like a normal lady, right? Potentially. Because there was no dragons.
You mean prior to Dany's dragons?
Exactly. So like when she was at Summerhall with all these, because like, is she doing crazy magic and giving crazy prophecies to Rhaegar? Maybe. Is she giving prophecies to the other people that are at Summerhall whenever that happens? Maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
But is she just like, maybe she doesn't have any of those gifts yet because there's no dragons around?
What about Jojen? How long's he been talking?
Well, Jojen's only been alive a little bit, but
He's got.
like it's weird because none of the older characters seem to be getting as involved with magic stuff, right? Like Kat doesn't seem to think that magic's real. Tyrion doesn't really seem to think that magic's real. Ned never seemed to think that magic was real, right? So I think that's interesting. Like, was she magical before the Game of Thrones ended? Like the first book ended when the dragons were born.
But I guess that's kind of what I'm saying about Jojen, right? Like, when did Jojen start getting his?
I guess that one is a potential, because we know that he met up with Bran pretty early in the Clash of Kings because of a vision he saw. He saw a winged wolf chained, and he was supposed to he freed the chains or whatever like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why Jojen tells Bran that's why he went to Winterfell. But he meets Bran pretty early in Clash of Kings.
I feel like Jojen has had him though. He's got the reputation of being a weird old man.
You're right. I guess he does imply that he's had similar visions like that or dreams like that before.
And that's
that
kind
one
of
about Bran.
It,
yeah,
right?
That's interesting. So that's a good point.
All right, so they're like, don't worry about her. We're taking her out of here tomorrow. We got to go back to River Run. We're dropping her off at her mom. Whoa,
Yep.
Don't take her there. She's not going to be there. She's going to be at a wedding.
The Blackfish is at River Run.
Yep, Blackfish holds rivers now. If it's the mother you want, seek her at the twins, for there's to be a wedding.
Just like dead
Look
on.
in your fire's pink priest, and you will see. Not now, though, you'll see nothing here. This place belongs to the old gods still. They linger here as I do, shrunken and feeble, but not yet dead. Nor do they love the flames, for the oak recalls the acorn, and acorn dreams the oak. The stump lives in them both, and they remember when the first men came with fire in their fists. One thing I think is interesting here that probably nobody really cares about, and I don't think you guys are going to care about much, the first men weren't the ones that chopped down the trees. The first men kind of were cool with this religion, and like
I thought
the first men were the ones that did old god
people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Andals
The
are the ones that
Andals
came. Exactly. So like it's interesting that what you say in these trees remember and don't like is when the old gods came, or when not the old gods, the first men came. Like what did the first men do that kind of disagrees with the old gods? We never heard of that before. It's not that I can remember.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Probably just having
All
fire,
right,
man. Fire scares trees.
Yeah.
Maybe they were the ones that.
What, the children of the
fires
forest who lived, and the giants who lived here before just had no fire at all?
They were just cuddling
Who
up
knows?
for heat sources.
Maybe they didn't need
All
it.
right, so the rain ends up coming in, and there's no shelter here, so they try to build some quick alone lean-tos.
Some sticks.
And,
Yeah.
doesn't get the job done.
Real quick before that, just the last thing, she finishes her wine, asks for the song,
Oh, yeah.
and she says, "Yes, my Jenny's song. Is there another?" Basically saying like that's the only song. So people call this song Jenny's song. I don't know if it has like an actual name, but this is like what the fandom refer to this as.
All right, so rain comes in. There's no shelter. They wake up in the morning, and half of them are sick, it seems. They got a quick little overnight cold. How do you fall asleep in the rain? That's got to be tough. I guess if you're that tired, you would, but I've never had to
With
do
it actually getting hit on you, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know,
With
man.
actually getting hit on you. It's got to
Yeah.
be brutal.
Yeah, and when they wake up, everybody's sick.
Yeah, they're all sick, and they're like, hey, we got to get to a better spot here. There's this abandoned village. Let's go there. That at least has half a roof.
Yeah, which again, did this remind you? It reminded me of the John and Bran chapters. Because
Well,
again,
obviously,
like
yeah.
Storm, abandoned village. Yeah.
Yeah.
Half a roof.
Arya escaping, John escaping.
Yeah.
But does she?
Well,
Does he?
Out of the frying pan into the fryer.
So they're on their deal. Everyone's coughing and shit on the ride, and then Ned, the young squire for Beric, is mad because the rain will ding his helmet, and that gives him a headache. But if he takes his helmet off, then his hair gets in his face.
Yep. And Gendry's like, well, then cut your hair off. So yeah, Gendry does not like this guy. Like Gendry does not seem to like Ned at all. I don't know why.
Yeah, it seems kind of like because him and Arya have a good relationship.
I
which
think
is
so too,
strange to me. He's like hiding his crush or whatever, right?
Arya and him have been butting heads a little bit, right? Like when they were
or
at
at
the
least
Stony
his
Step.
brother sister thing. Yeah.
When they were at the Stony Step, like that in the Peach, right? They had the whole like, go ring that girl's bells, and then later Gendry tells her like, hey, I'm like joining up, right? He gets knighted last chapter. He gets knighted by them, and she's like, you were like the only person that like stayed with me.
You're in my pack. You're in my pack.
Exactly.
You're ditching me for these people.
Yeah, even Arya and Gendry aren't on great terms right now.
Yeah, and it seems like Ned and Arya are a little closer in age too. Maybe it's just
exactly. I should look how old Harwin is, because I thought Harwin was closer to their age too, but it makes it sound like he's a little bit older.
Seems like he's been
I
around.
thought he's like 20
older than her. Yeah, so that's what
maybe
I'm
he's like
thinking
15.
too. I'm thinking he's probably around 22.
All right, so we get to learn a little bit more about Ned. He's a Dornishman, but he doesn't look like the Dornishman that Arya's heard of. He doesn't have black eyes and black hair. He's got almost purple eyes and a blondish hair that's almost ash colored.
He kind of looks like a Targaryen. That's what I thought this was going, honestly.
That's true. And we know some of his relatives. The one that we don't know that he talks about first is, so she asked him how long he's been the squire, how long Ned has been Beric's squire, and he explains that he was made Beric's page when Beric was betrothed.
Was going to marry his aunt.
They didn't marry because they're not married yet.
Even Beric was going to marry.
Was promised to marry his aunt. So one of his aunts is a Chardane, who we've heard of and they talk about later. This is a different aunt, Ilaria Dane. He doesn't say her name a little bit later, but and that Ned says he was 7 at that time, and when he turned 10, that's when he was made a squire, and that was 2 years ago.
This dude's been fast tracked, right? Like it's
all about who you know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah, he's definitely on the ends here.
It's not what you know.
Which kind of says something, like, for Arya, like, she even says that, like, damn, I'm an idiot. I should have known this guy was important, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, how do you become Beric's squire
without 12?
Being important?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that dumb, because it seems like Beric, like, say Ned died. Say there was a battle tomorrow, Ned died. Don't you think Beric would take on, like, Gendry as a squire, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, it's just weird because we know Gendry's just knighting people left and right. Like, why is this kid a squire when he could just be a knight of the Brotherhood or whatever?
So I think my point is, I think Arya's logic is pretty sound here, except for the fact that it's Beric, right? Like, most squires are only squires because they're highborn. Beric, though, just takes on anybody and like accepts them into his group. So like, if Beric didn't have a squire when all this shit kicked off, but I guess she probably noticed him maybe in King's Landing, because Ned was his squire when Beric was in King's Landing. Like at the tournament.
Well,
like
he was there.
They probably crossed paths. She probably at least had seen him once or twice.
All right, so she wants to learn more about him and the battles because she's already killed people. She's like, "So you've been in battle? Like, tell me your stories."
And she's trying to relate to somebody else.
Another young kid that has killed people.
Finally, somebody I can
kill more people.
Something in common with.
I think it's funny too when Arya's going over her own kill list, like her own frag count. She has the same sort of trouble that we do. Like, hey, do we count Whis and Chiswick as Arya kills or no? Like, yes, it was
kind of my fault, but yeah.
Yes, it was Jaqen, but like, really, it was. What about the Weasel Suit people? Do they count? Like, obviously that was me, but I didn't kill them all. But they all died because of my plan.
Did you put them on the frag list?
I don't think we did. I think we decided it was Jaqen. Arya has 4 that we counted. The stable boy, 2 of Armory's men, which she does think of here too. She thinks about Armory's men by the lake, which like that was like unclear. She was like running around slicing, hacking. Like it wasn't like super obvious who she was killing. And then the guard at Harrenhal. So those were the 4 we counted. We gave the other ones to Jaqen.
All right, so Ned tells us about the battle at the Mummer's Ford where he just kind of chilled with his sword, and then Beric took a lance through the chest.
Well, he already had a lance to the chest, right? Like that was what killed him, and he pulled him out.
Yep.
And then he stood there trying to guard him.
Just waited for someone else to help him up on a horse.
Yeah.
So Arya thinking about how she's a cold-blooded murderer at the age of 8 or whatever she is.
I was gonna say, what
makes
is
her
she
think
now?
of
She's got to be 9.
Ned.
I think she's 9 now.
If she was, she said she was 8 when she killed the Sable. She'd be 9. Probably.
Ned, her dad.
Yeah, so exactly. Thinking about how she's a murderer makes her think of Ned, her dad, and how like she doesn't say this, but like probably like she's like ashamed, right? She feels kind of like, what would he think about about this?
He could be like weirdly proud.
He said, but she says she feels sad, which makes you think like she thinks he wouldn't.
Maybe
like
he didn't
He
want
probably
her to
wouldn't be
be
pumped
a
about
savage
this.
killer, but
Yeah,
I
like
could
a
see
murderer.
Ned still being proud that she could defend herself and she got away, and from the stable boy and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess some of it was. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you're right. She wasn't going out and murdering people. A lot of it was in like somewhat self-defense. The Harrenhal guard was questionable, but like she needed to get the hell out of there. So, but yeah, so she's like, "Do you know that my dad had the same name?"
Yeah, actually, I knew your dad. I saw him at the hands. I didn't know him, but I saw him at the hands tourney, and I was gonna say something to him, but I got too scared, so I lost that chance because he doesn't have a head now.
I did see Sansa there. She got the rose, so that
Yeah.
was like proof that he was there, right?
Yep, exactly.
And he asked if Arya was there, and we know, Kyle, that
She was chasing cats, right, or something.
chasing cats.
Yeah, probably. She was doing dancing lessons.
Yeah.
All right. So then Ned's then like, yo, don't you have a brother named John, a baseborn? She's like, yeah. How do you know that? He's at the wall. Like, you should know about him.
Yep.
Turns out they were milk brothers.
Yeah, this is kind of a crazy happenstance here, right? Like, I did not expect this dude to be the one to dump a lot of kind of
John
external information on Ned, right? Like a lot of stuff that I thought was never gonna come back to some degree, like maybe not reliably, and it's still not really super reliably because at the end of this we'll get there, but she like writes it all off. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Like-
for him to know John and Willa,
Noah's loose, right? Like they probably didn't
Willa?
doesn't remember
I think it's
John at
Willa.
all,
yeah,
but he knows that. Yeah,
they have a
Is
bond.
it Willa
of
or
some
Willa,
sense.
Nels?
I
What's the
mean,
accepted pronunciation?
George has always said that pronounce it however you want. I don't care. And George,
Yeah,
like
Willa.
George pronounces Cersei. So, and Dothrak I.
Well,
So
he's a-
he doesn't care if
he's
you
a-
pronounce
he's
it
a
differently.
weirdo.
I say
He's a
Willa.
weirdo. All right.
I like
so
Willa.
this girl Willa was John's actual mom,
Yep.
and Ned's mom didn't have any milk.
Yeah, like how you didn't know this is pretty much.
I guess it would just be hearsay, right? Or like happened, like he was told it, right? Because he didn't know while he was getting her milk. Like,
Well, yeah, that's kind of what Nelson was just saying.
That's what he's like. How
Yeah,
do you not
but-
know who your brother's mom is? And he's like, I
yeah,
don't know.
Ned never
like
mentioned
Arya
her
never really
name.
thought about
Well,
it.
this was always such shame, right? Like at least that's the way it was presented in the last one.
At least up to
Or
the
in the
north.
first
I
book,
guess I
rather.
just don't understand why like telling them who the mother is gives it more shame. Like it seems like shame on Ned for
Because it's just, I don't know. Because it puts a face to the deed. I don't know.
I guess.
And
Yeah.
and Catelyn can't be mad at anybody in particular.
Like there's a chance that she could be around, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know.
that's true.
If it's an unknown thing, you can't be mad at. You can't be mad at any. You could just be mad at the idea, not at. That's what I'm going with.
I don't know. I said my prediction on that a while ago. I don't know how true it still can be, based off some information we've gotten. But at the same time, I still don't think this makes much sense either, for what that's worth.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's go into what they do say. So what Ned's saying is that they were milk brothers, and Arya's like that doesn't make any sense. Like you're from Dorne. Like what?
Yeah, you guys
How
can't
could
be
you guys
related.
And he's like, no, we just shared milk.
Yeah.
My mom didn't have any milk, which is interesting because I always assumed that this was like means like you're nursing at the same time, right? You have two babies, but Ned is several years younger than John, right? Like at least 2 or 3 years younger than John.
I think he's like 12 right now, right? Isn't he 12? So he'd be like 3 or 4 years younger.
It's a good point.
He's 12, John's 15. I always assume until this read through, I always assumed that they were like babies at the same time. I'm like, wait, that doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
Like it's just the same woman a couple years later,
Yeah,
right?
and I mean, I should know because I'm about to know, but I think it's if you don't use it, you lose it type of thing. At some point, a mom stops producing milk. Pretty sure.
Just keep sucking it out, Jeff. You keep that shit forever.
Well, I mean, I also don't think it's impossible that she had another kid.
Well, yeah, right. Maybe she had another kid. Maybe John has
She
a
could
brother.
have just had another kid at the same time, right? She had John, then she had another kid a couple years later.
Yeah, but that's Well, isn't that another interesting point that John could have a brother?
That's true. That's a great point.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
Can you milk yourself? Like if she like had John and John like
I have
fucked
nipples,
off,
Greg. Can you milk
could she
me?
just start like that's all I'm thinking about too. It's like, could you, if you wanted, like say you just had a baby, your baby stopped breastfeeding, but for some reason you got addicted to the feeling of having milk come out your titties.
Your husband likes to drink it.
Sure, your husband likes to drink it. Well, I mean, I feel like that's different because you could just like, obviously that would work if your husband was drinking it if your husband was drinking like a baby though. I'm saying if there's no other
Jeff's
person
trying to
involved,
confirm right now, I think.
I'm saying if there's no other person involved.
Well, there's
could you
always another
milk
person
yourself?
involved to make a baby, Nelson.
I'm saying, say that like say Wiley goes off by her own after Ned leaves her. Could she just like, if she was by herself living on her own, could she just milk herself and just always produce milk?
I am not claiming to know one way or another on this.
Interesting thought though, because that's
I was just trying to
potentially-
provoke this to go as long as possible because it's ridiculous.
I think it's honest. I think it's a decent question because maybe in the Middle Ages, if this was a common thing, where like
you should just ask a lady. You need
just
more
have
female
one
friends. Would you find out, Jeff?
So from my source, it's a feedback loop. So as long as it keeps
Keeps happening. It keeps
getting
producing.
tapped,
Okay.
it's gonna keep coming.
So could she milk herself
Oh, I didn't ask that.
for
Yeah,
years?
well, you could pump.
I think it's interesting because in the Middle Ages, that might not be a ridiculous question. Because if it's like actually a thing where like
This
moms,
girl's just been milking for.
if moms
she's just
can't
been-
actually
sure.
produce milk a decent amount of time, then you might just always want a lady on staff that always has milk,
Yeah,
right?
Danny.
Ask Danny if that's a plausible thing.
Could a girl
Why are we
was breastfeeding just continue to like pump and
forever?
just pump and pump and pump forever? Let's say for 5 years. She kept it going herself. Like, do you think in the Middle Ages it could have been someone's job to just be
Well, for sure.
a milk mommy? Yeah, she's all in. This Willow was a milkmaid.
There we go.
That's what a wet nurse is, exactly. Yeah, that's their position. It's probably like youngish girls that that's
Just
their
had
job.
a baby, so they just keep you on for a couple extra years pumping.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's
you were
probably enough
laughing at me
kids
a few
around,
minutes
especially
ago,
in these
and
big
now
places.
you seem
I'm
totally on
laughing at
board.
you because you're a fucking clown. That's why.
His name is Edric Dane, and he is the Lord of Starfall. Kind of
Yes.
weird he's the Lord, and he's running around with Barracks still. But
Barracks a lord.
Yeah, Lord Barrick Dondarrion.
There's literally a lord.
So
he's got
so
a hole
where
in
is
his.
Starfall?
He's got a hole in his chest, a hole in his eye.
Do we know where Starfall is?
Yes. It's in Dorne, but it's on like the.
East.
It's in the mount. Is that the mountain area of?
Can you
Dorne?
see this map back here?
Yes. Yeah. Enough. Yeah. West Coast. Okay. So this is a place we kind of just learned about not too long ago when we talked about all the Dornish people
They
for
actually
the
weren't
Red
on
Viper.
there. With that big map,
Okay.
their family wasn't there. But
Okay.
yes, one of them. I think this is hilarious too. I feel like there's a lot of this with Gendry where he's like, "Oh, lords and ladies." Like, okay, dude, if you were legitimized, you'd be potentially king.
You'd be-
right. Like,
Yeah.
You'd be
Yeah,
there.
this dude, you are the most important of us here,
Yeah,
pretty much,
exactly.
my man.
Like,
Yeah.
you're the most highborn. But, I
Yeah.
mean, maybe not because one of his parents is like lowborn, but you know what I mean. Yeah, he's important.
Yeah. And Arya's kind of shocked about all this. She's like, "Wow, once I get the river run, like, I need to write this to John. Like, I know who his mom is. I know that Edric.
He's
Dane
gonna be
was
so
sharing-
pumped to
sharing
hear
some
about-
milk with him.
Yep.
Yeah. So then we learn of some more Danes, which I don't. We knew of the
We've
sword
heard
in
of
the
them.
morning.
Yep.
She also beamed
Gendry with
Gendry with
an
an
apple.
apple in there. Yeah.
Headshot
Pretty hard in the
his
head.
ass, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so we get I hate the Ned Ed thing. That drives me nuts. When I,
know,
saw
it's
his name
great
was
that-
Edric, I was
it's
like,
great
what?
that Ned is talking about. Are you?
Ned.
What do you mean? What are you saying, Kyle?
Ned
I'm
and
saying-
Ed, I said. Eddard and Edric
Eddard
is
and
Ned.
Edric. That's not even like the same name. You have the same nickname.
I just feel
Yeah.
like George had to be trolling us here, where the character who's talking about Ned a lot is named Ned. So like, it's just really confusing for us to talk about. Like, oh, Ned said that Ned did this.
Yeah, this definitely
Ned.
fits your whole big
Little Walter, like
yeah,
and
Walter,
The big
that's her
one
name,
is
Walter.
littler, and the little one is bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think size-wise, big one is bigger and little one is littler, but age-wise, they're
Yeah.
flipped. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Ashara and Arthur are his aunt and uncle.
Yep.
That he talks about, and young Ned Edric is shocked that Arya hasn't heard of Ashara.
Yeah.
And he almost doesn't want to spoil it to her.
Which is crazy, right? Like, would you expect your friend, like, if I knew Nelson's dad's mistress, right? Like, would I expect Nelson to know, like, who she was?
Well, why was the mistress, right? Why was the mistress?
Okay.
And Ashara is possibly the one he is in love with.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I meant, I guess, yeah.
It's like your dad telling you of his high school girlfriends before he met your mom.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever really got any of that myself. So, like, I would not expect anybody else to have gotten this weird backstory of dad's past conquest.
Especially if your mother doesn't like the stories, per se.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And she's Catelyn.
And she's
I don't think that Ned was necessarily surprised that Arya didn't know. I just think, like, as he was saying it, he was, like, maybe realizing, like, oh, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be talking about this. Yeah.
Well, he does eventually get there. Yeah, he's like, is this my place to be telling this kind of?
Yeah.
And she's like, you're going to tell me right now or I'm going to punch you in the face.
Yeah, you saw me huck an apple at Gendry.
Like a lot of times we'll paraphrase and like exaggerate. That's like a quote from Arya. Like, you're going to tell me or I'm going to punch you right in the face. It's like, that's like a word for word quote.
And she's a 9. She's 9, right? Maybe 9. 8-ish 9. All right. So really quickly on Ashara, she jumped from a tower into the ocean, killing herself because she died of a broken heart. Her and Ned Stark fell in love at Harrenhal during the tourney, right? I guess.
Yep.
That's what. That's the story.
He doesn't say that here, but Harwin says it later. Yeah.
Yeah. Arya's like, bullshit. He loved my mom. That's it. End of story. And then I think Ned's like, fine, okay, this was before that. And Gendry's like,
I think Ned's gonna say that, but she cuts him off. Like, she's not having any of this shit.
Yeah. But Gendry's like, come on, he did have a bastard. His honor is not perfect.
Yeah, because Arya says, Kat's the only woman, my mom's the only woman he ever loved. And Gendry's like, oh, he must have found that bastard under a cabbage leaf then. Just great.
Yeah, Gendry's on fire.
That's a good line.
And then Gendry says, at least your dad raised his bastard, unlike my dad. Like, all my mom said,
like
my dad would beat me. He would probably beat me bloody, which is probably true, right? Like, all that, he is drunk, and he probably would have just beat him if he did anything wrong, because he probably beat Joffrey. I don't doubt it.
I like how he's like, Buddy's dead, I figure. Like, he has no idea, but yeah, he is very dead. Yep.
Yep. And he says, and so is your dad, so who cares who they slept with?
So Arya's like, this is bullshit. Rides off and asks Anguy if the Dornish could tell the truth.
She's pretty much like, everything I just heard back there is bullshit, right? like what you said. She's like, this is bullshit. And then she goes, that was all bullshit, right? Like, to somebody else.
This is funny, too, because Anguy lives on the Dornish Marchers, which is like bordering, like, they're kind of like storm
more
lords
the
that
reach.
fight. I think they're Stormlands more, but they kind of like get into disputes with the Dornish a lot.
Yeah,
so
they're kind of natural enemies. Hatfields and McCoys kind of, sort of, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's like, yeah, of course they do. They always do. But they did the same thing about me. So don't worry. Ned's a good cat.
Yeah.
So he's a liar.
So at this point, she kind of bounces off through the woods because she's pissed off.
Yeah, she says it's not an escape, but she's like, just doesn't want to be near any more bullshit.
She's got to go on her own for a little bit, yeah.
And Harwin pops over and he's like, yo, what the hell are you doing? And starts pulling her back to the group. And we get it kind of from Harwin's point of view. And he's like, yeah, I heard about that story once in good old Winterfell.
Here we get a little bit different reason for Ashari's death, though, right?
Yeah, Harwin says something different.
Ashara.
Also, going way back, I'm going to bring up this quote from Cat 2, Chapter 6 of A Game of Thrones. So Ned would never talk of Jon's mother, but Cat heard whispers that it was Lady Ashara Dane. She was the brother to the deadliest knight in the Seven Kingdoms, Sir Arthur Dane, and once she asked him about it. Here's the quote. That was the only time in all their years that Ned had ever frightened her. Never ask me about Jon, he said, cold as ice. He is my blood, that is all you need to know, and now I will learn where you heard that name, my lady. She had pledged to obey, she told him, and from that day on the whispering had stopped, and Ashara Dane's name was never heard in Winterfell again. Whoever's Jon's mother had been, Ned must have loved her fiercely, for nothing Catelyn said would persuade him to send the boy away. So, that's basically why Harwin's like, don't, if you ever see a cat when you get to
don't talk to your mom about that. Yeah, that's some bad fucking news, right? Like she is known to not appreciate that story or that name in the least.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though, like, so this is kind of disproving that, right? Is at least what...
Exactly. The guy who was more
Ned said.
firsthand, Ned, says no, it was Wyla. Yeah.
More firsthand. I don't know about more firsthand.
Well, yeah,
I guess. I mean, he lives in the town potentially,
Exactly.
or he's like kind of related to these people, but still kind of a story. Right?
Exactly, which is why it's great.
Yeah.
And then he also brings up like, yo, when your dad might have been with Ashara, like, don't like take it to heart because Brandon was still alive and Kat.
Yeah,
your
that was
mom
way
promised
before
to Brandon, so he didn't do anything too bad. Like they fell in love at attorney. Like there's hot blood at attorney. It's okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I said some of this Ned stuff, I didn't sit right with me, right? But like Ned Dane stuff didn't sit right with me in terms of my belief. The Willa part or Wyla still doesn't really mesh, but this Ashara Dane stuff, I don't see why not, right? Like that could be completely plausible, and especially because it's prior to I don't know. It just seems weird for Ned Stark to do something after Robb is born, right? Or when?
I mean, John's younger than
exactly.
Robb.
So that seems so strange to me. Like that seems very anti-Ned.
Okay,
that's all.
Gotcha. So you're still sus on all this.
So why do you think Ashara jumped?
Well, I mean, right here he says she jumped because her brother died, right?
Yep, exactly. And do we know anything about that?
Arthur Dane, that was like Ned fought him, right? That was like the 7 White Knights or whatever at the tower. Yeah,
3 versus 7. He was with 7 of the Northern. Arthur was one of the 3 White Knights, and we know that the only people that walked away from that was him and Hallen Reed, who was one of his own guys. So yeah,
who and Hallen Reed?
Ned and Hallen Reed were the only one that walked away from that fight alive. Yep.
Yeah.
So they end up getting to this abandoned village, and just a little quick deal about like, I guess it's the other side of war, right? She's like, damn, I wonder who put this village to the torch. I don't know if she thinks about that or they kind of think about it.
Well, she's still trying to gauge like, are we the baddies, right? Like she's kind of always been feeling that, at least. Like they get to these towns and it's like, fuck, the wolves were just as bad. Like,
oh yeah, she's here. I didn't think about that, but that's a good point. She's like, was this the Lannisters? Probably hoping. Oh, I hope it wasn't our guys.
Yeah,
because she feels ashamed every time she hears that like the Karstarks came through and did some shitty. Yeah, exactly.
And it turns out it was Granddaddy.
Yeah, exactly, Grandpa back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah, which again I think kind of maybe plays on that whole point is like, damn. Like everybody used to just.
We've been doing this for a while. Yeah, there's no stopping this. Like people I thought were good people. Like, yeah.
Yeah, because I was trying to think if there's anything else in the story. It doesn't really seem so. It just seems like this was one of the people that sided with the Targaryens during the rebellion and pretty much lost their town for it. Mm. So also, I think one thing funny here is when they're sheltered in the stable, Thoros says they need to fire the night is dark and full of terrors, which is normally a Melisandre line.
That's not his line. He stole that line.
He stole that line. He says,
well, they're from the same religion, right? Maybe it's a religious thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
they get the fire going. Thoros is studying it. Tom takes off his boots, complaining that he doesn't want to go back to Riverrun because they don't like him there. And then he tells a story. To read that story what Tom says about him and Lysa.
The Tullys have never been lucky for old Tom. It was that Lysa that sent me up the high road when the Moon Men took my gold and my horse and all my clothes as well. There's knights in the Vale still telling me how I came walking up to the bloody gate with only my heart to keep me modest. They made me sing The Name Day Boy and The King Without Courage before they opened that gate. My only solace was that 3 of them died laughing. I haven't been back to the Eyrie since, and I won't sing The King Without Courage either. Not for all the gold in Casterly.
Yeah, and then he gets cut off. Thoros jumps up. He's excited. But yeah, I just think I don't quite understand the story. Lysa sent him up the high road, meaning like somehow she sent him towards the Vale. I guess from Riverrun towards the Vale.
While Lysa was at Riverrun?
Maybe she sent him to like, I don't know. Like why would Lysa be sending Tom to the Vale? But it seems like that's what happened. And then while he was on his way, he got jumped by the clansmen and ended up naked by the time he got to the Bloody Gate.
All right, Thoros gets a fire going, and he gets back into staring into fire mode, and
that was going on while he was telling that story, because he interrupts with Lannisters.
Right, and before that, he had whispered Riverrun.
Potentially, yeah, Arya wasn't sure.
Yeah,
she thought that's what she heard.
Yeah. And he pops up and grabs the men pretty quick, and they all kind of, Tom, Thoros, Beric, Lem, kind of start discussing what he just saw in the fire. So Arya's kind of nervous. They look like kind of pissed off or, I don't know, scared, angry. but it's pretty pressing news that he saw in the fire.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, it actually also relates to them, right? Like this is like where we're headed, and
Yeah, they're all everything they're doing is for Arya, pretty much. Like
yeah,
they know
And
they're
to
going to
sell
get a
her.
good amount of money
And to ransom her. Yeah.
exactly. They know they're going to get a good amount of money.
So what does he see? He sees
a fire of lions around River Run.
Yeah, surrounded by fire of lion claws.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, I mean, that's kind of like sure he's right, but like in a fire, like if you're gonna see that, right? Like I could probably go outside, start a fire, and look in and see.
It's interesting though because he says like, "Oh, I'm
You
not
see
always
fire
right."
in the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, I think he explains like how the visions work.
He says they don't lie, but he doesn't interpret it the right way.
Yeah, but he says, "I don't think this one." He's like, "This one, I think I got right," which makes me think it's like pretty clear. Yeah.
And he didn't see Cat or Rob in River Run while it was under Lannister fire. So he's basically like, soon the Lannisters will have River Run under siege.
Exactly. And then they're talking like, yeah, we don't like, because Lem says like, we should just go there anyway. Like, they're asking like, do you know Blackfish?
Someone's
going to
buy her.
Can we get money from you from somebody at River Run? And like, if Arya, she doesn't think about it, but like, I don't think it would last more than a day till she figured out like, wait, I don't want to go to Blackfish. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
yeah.
You know what
Who's
I mean?
that?
Like,
That's my uncle I've never even met before.
exactly. Like, yeah, this might work out for them. They might get money. Like, they might work out
At
for
least
the brotherhood.
it's somebody friendly, right?
Yeah, for sure. But
she hasn't been with anybody friendly in quite some time.
It's curious that they thought that he might not take her. Like he might not believe that it's her.
well, I mean, why would
Blackfish.
you? You always say this. There's no ID. Why wouldn't
Yeah,
Bear
but
just show up with
this is
some random
something
girl
like,
and be like, hey, pretend you're Arya?
Well, hold on. Let me explain to you why. Oh, Cat's your mom. Tell me this, that, and the third about her. Like, if you took Arya in a room and you asked her some pretty personal questions about
I think
her
they
mom,
could figure it out pretty
What was your
quick.
direwolf's name type thing? Okay,
Yeah.
I get you. Yeah. Okay, good point. Fair.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so she gets pissed off because she's like, "Damn it! I wish they never caught me. Like, I'd have been with my family by now." And that was before they ask her about Barrack and whatnot. And Lem's like, "Take her. We're getting gold for this." For Tom's like, "I'm not getting caught by the Lannisters. Like, we can't go there. Like, what if we get trapped?"
Yeah, and this is where Bear's like, I'm not getting caught. I don't plan to be caught. And then he like left the last. Laura thinks he left the last word unspoken, but everybody knew what he's saying. Yeah, exactly. I'm dying this time.
Like for real though, like I don't know, he's died a few times.
That part doesn't seem like it's up to him, right? Like the whole him dying is up to him, but him coming back is not up to him. So it seems like he doesn't even want to be back this time. He like earlier in the chapter, he said 6 times too many, right?
Yeah.
He wants to be dead in the worst way. He's probably looking for a way to like, all right, end this time.
Well, exactly. I mean, he did kind of hint at it, like fucking him up mentally, right? Like it's
100%.
like he did die, he did come back, like he has
the big speech he gave in the last Arya chapter. He can't even remember where he couldn't get back home.
Who he was
he couldn't remember
the
name of the person he's supposed to marry, who's Ned's aunt.
Yeah.
You could just ask Ned. Ned could be like, "Oh, it's Ilaria. Don't worry about it."
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you when we get there. Yeah.
So Barrack's like, all right, like I'm not going in blind anywhere. Like I need to know where the armies are at. We'll go to Sharna. We'll ask her some questions, and Lord Vance's maester.
No, so they're gonna go hold up at Lady Smallwood's house at Acorn Hall, and they're gonna send out scouts to Sharna and Vance's maester and all these other people and get reports. Arya's like, I do not want to go to Acorn Hall. I don't want to see Lady Smallwood. I want to go to River. I'm out. Fuck this shit. I'm out. And she starts running.
Damn, booked it.
She's thinking about how hot pie, she'd be better off without a hot. She would have been better off without Hot Pie and Gendry. They were never her pack. If they were, they wouldn't have left her. And the lightning's making her think of Barrack, the Lightning Lord. And she's like, he can't die, but he can lie. Runs around the corner of a building. Bang. Into the hand of a mailed fist. Picks her up.
I wasn't gonna run away.
I was gonna go back. And it's Sandor's raspy laugh, right? Laughter was like iron scraping over stone. Bugger that, wolf girl, you're mine. He yanked her off her feet, and that's it. And she's just thinking about what he said in the last chapter. Do you know what dogs do to wolves? Which I think the quote just doesn't make sense. Like, wolf would fuck up a dog.
Maybe a bunch of dogs and one wolf,
like,
right?
A pack is just gonna.
Here. I mean, I get that he would fuck up her.
Well, it's not one-on-one for long either, right? Like they're gonna. He's going somewhere that he wants. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm saying he might get caught up by the Brotherhood. He's in the same town. She ran around the corner of a house.
I know. I don't think
Yeah,
that's
but it's
happening
raining
though.
really loud.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Like I said, this one ended stupid to me. I was not happy with this. I was like, oh, this is kind of forced. I didn't love it. Like, how's this dude like tracking them and they have no idea and their sentries don't know? Like this isn't, they're not that bad.
That would make sense, but he did it already. Like, literally, he was captured at the Hollow Hill. They let him go. And literally last Arya chapter, they were at some random village and he shows up in the middle when they're knighting Gendry. He's like, fuck you guys. And he leaves.
Yeah.
And like, he's literally just following them. You're right. Like, he's literally just tracking them down the whole time. But like,
He's like the bad guys in Pokemon. They just keep popping up.
Team
I would
Rocket.
agree that I think it's
Team
unrealistic,
Rocket.
but we didn't say it was unrealistic last chapter. So like, why is it more unrealistic now, especially when it's stormy and everything?
Once I can't buy that it's going to keep happening and that they're not going to have guards. And I don't know, man. It just seems too much to me.
They talk about the whole guard situation the last time. One was asleep, right? When Lem
Yeah,
went
but
out
this
to find the
dude's
guard, the
drunk
guy was
and
asleep.
The Hound's pretty crafty, though.
The
I
Hound's
don't
not drunk.
know.
He doesn't have any gold to buy
I
wine.
guess he
What am
doesn't
I
have any
drunk
more.
on?
Yeah, I guess
That's what
you're
he
right
said
now.
last time.
But I don't know. I know you're trying to argue this the other way. I'm
I
still
would agree
mad
with you.
about how this ended.
I 100% think the only reason the Hound shows up in the last chapter is to make it to make this more realistic, to kind of
Yeah.
like point out the issues that this group has.
Yeah, they're not
But-
perfect. That's
yeah,
fair.
because otherwise, I think it is kind of like okay.
It seems kind of
He's
like a
literally
trope.
just like 3 streets away, but he seemed to have no problem walking right into the front door last
Yeah,
time.
and I mean, so I did think that when they were burning the fires, both on the hill, because it was like a massive fire apparently,
Yep.
and then here, he had said something about that the last time. It was like, you made enough smoke, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly, when they burned
So-
the village.
So, I mean, I did kind of think of that, but
And Bran and John, every other chapter, talk about how a fire can be life and it can be death, right?
yeah,
So,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's like obviously.
Why
it's-
wouldn't
it's-
Thoros find this in the fire?
There you go.
I mean, I think I kind of
Maybe
my best
the
predictions
fire
for this
on
chapter
top of the hill.
we're trying to decipher the Crohn's things. The fire on top of the hill. That's what I was saying. The fire on top of the hill was a big one, right? Or you mean that was where he would have saw it in?
Maybe he could have seen it, but the old gods blocked it.
But it was blocked out. he was trying to watch local sports on ESPN,
Yeah.
and it was blacked
He
out
didn't
in his
sign into
region.
his cable provider.
Yeah, exactly. He needed to watch the local channel instead. So I mean, like I said, I guess I feel like he's getting away with her. I don't know, man. This whole thing, she's gonna get away and have to fucking survive in the Riverlands and walk around the Riverlands some more. That's where I'm at, and it sucks.
More Arya Riverlands chapters, which I don't like. I don't hate. They're kind of good. They're different. She's different with different people every time.
She's always doing weird shit. Yeah.
She's zipping and bopping around the Riverlands.
And the Hound's interesting. He might not be a good guy, but he's like a fun character to
Yeah,
normally
I mean,
when he's in the scenes, it's fun to read.
I don't know. He's
So
not
just
in
talk
anybody's
shit to
real good
everybody.
graces right now, so I don't know where he would go. Maybe to his brother,
He
which
is
would
the
be bad
outlaw of
news.
outlaws. He bailed from the king
Yeah.
during the battle.
Well, and the North hates him, right? Because he's the fucking Hound. So like he's got no friends. Whereas at least Beric kind of had Northman friends once he bailed from the king.
Lone wolf for sure. Lone dog.
There we go.
Lone dog.
See Kyle the next one for JV6. We'll see you guys in the spoiler section. Bye bye.
All right, bye.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Bye Kyle.
Bye, Kyle. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Now on the spoiler section for Arya 8. Jeff, what we got?
Oh, man, we got some shit
Actually,
popping
shut
off.
up. There's something I forgot in the last Dany chapter.
Okay.
Just real quick. She gets Miro drunk. Miro and the Second Sons.
Yeah.
When I was editing the chapter, I was just thinking like, oh, I wanted to mention that that's exactly what the phrase do to Rob.
Yeah.
For the
Oh,
Red
I knew
Wedding.
that's where, when you brought that up, I knew that's where you were going with that.
Yeah. So just wanted to mention that because I forgot and I was like, damn, we should have brought that up. But
Well,
just a little
you're an
thing.
idiot. We're a week late on that one.
First one. I've said this before. There's like people think Lem is somebody, a mystery person. He's not Lem. He's like at one point somebody says, why is
He's
your
a white-
cloak
Yeah, he peed on his...
exactly a white cloak? Why don't you ever wash your cloak? You're afraid the piss will wash out and everybody will see you're Knight of the King's Guard. Again, I've said I don't think that really makes sense. All the King's Guard seem to be accounted for
Accounted for and dead.
like around his age range. So doesn't quite make sense. I think the biggest the theory for like who he is the Knight of Skulls and Kisses.
Okay. Is that a Dornish knight?
We heard about him in the tourney at Harrenhal. His name is Richard Lonmouth.
Okay.
The reason that people think that that he is the person that might be Lem, because just because we've heard about him a few times in history, mainly at the tourney at Harrenhal.
And the crone wants a kiss from him.
Exactly. Here she wants a kiss, and in this chapter she says, "His mouth will taste of lemons and hers of bones." And House Lonmouth's sigil is lips, like red lips on a yellow, checkered with skulls on black.
Okay.
So she says, like, I want to kiss you, and my mouth's going to taste of bones. And that's what she says in this chapter. This is what's from the last time we saw her. We only see her 2 times total. Last time we saw her, she says, after she gives like all her dreams, grumbled Lem. What good are dreams? Fish woman and drowned crows. I had a dream myself last night. I was kissing this tarot wench I used to know. Are you going to pay me for that, old woman? The wench is dead, the woman hissed. So again, both interactions she has with Lem, it's about like kissing and bones. Like here she says kissing and bones. Last time
and a dead woman.
He dreams of kissing and she says a dead woman. Exactly. So I think that's really all we have to go on for this. I think this is a little far-fetched. I feel like I've hyped this theory up a little bit too much in the past, and I think it's interesting that both times there's like, I don't think it's interesting enough to go the extra mile and say Lem is the Knight of Skulls and Kisses. He might just be Lem. That's kind of where I was going with this. I think I've hyped this up a little bit too much in the past.
Does the Knight of Skull and Kisses like have like a deal? Like
I don't think we know much about him yet, but I think we would probably learn more about him through.
All I'm saying is like, what's the big deal if he is?
I think we'd learn more about him soon in John Con chapters, and he would like definitely recognize someone like John Con, right?
Were
so
they
I think that's
friends?
why. Well, just John Con was like the hand of the king for a while. John Con was in love with Rhaegar. He was friends with Rhaegar.
Yeah, but
Rhaegar was at the tournament, the Harrenhal. Like that's where we know of the.
Was
the Knight of
this
Skulls and
knight
Kisses
supposed
from.
to be in King's Landing at the time? The Skull and Kisses knight?
I think really all we know is that he was at the tourney of Harrenhal. That's like pretty much all we know about him. But there was like everyone was at the tourney of Harrenhal, so he would know who Ned is. He would know who Rhaegar is. He would know who Arthur Dane is. He would know who Barristan is if Dany shows up. Barristan.
What area?
Might know who
What
he
area
is.
of the world is he from?
Stormlands.
Okay.
So
yeah, all right. I mean,
again,
I mean, I think he's somebody.
Maybe interesting. I don't think there's very much to go on though. Literally, I think it's interesting that both times we hear him, it's about like kissing related, and there's like dead bones or
dead.
But I don't think it's enough to say that.
I'm not gonna fight you on it. I think it's cool if he's somebody, but if he's not somebody, I wouldn't be mad either.
Yeah, again, it's one of the things that people do complain about with the Song of Ice and Fire fandom, and I think it's fun. We've had a lot of time since the last book. Me and you have not had to wait nearly as long as some people. Right, like we always say, it's been 12 years since Dance of Dragons. I've been waiting 12 years. I finished the series for the first time when I was, I'm pretty old. Maybe I have been waiting 12 years.
I've waited like not long at all. 4 years.
I was probably 19 when I finished reading the books. I'm
Well,
29
yeah,
now, so I've waited about 10 years.
Decade.
There's people waiting 10. There's been people waiting 12. There's people who have been waiting since Game of Thrones for Clash of Kings, since Clash of Kings for Storm of Swords. You know what I mean? So there's people who wait way longer than us.
Mm-hmm. Not me. I'm too smart.
I still like this part of it. You know what I mean? Like you know my theory. And I feel like that we get to talk about what's going to happen next. Like if all the books were out, we couldn't do this. We'd know what happened next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. I mean, if we knew, we wouldn't be doing this.
I think it's the downside to my theory, right? My theory about how George is doing this is he's not going to release all the books he's not going to release wins until they're all done. Because maybe when he's writing the last page, he wants to go back and put some foreshadowing. He can go back and put that foreshadowing on the first page of Wins if he hasn't released it yet. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think that's why he's doing it. He said things like that before. But because of that, that means that when Wins does come, we're probably just going to get it all, right? We're probably going to get it all in like 9-month increments. They're going to release Wins, wait a little bit to build up some more hype, and then we get the next one. And it's not going to give us enough time to do this. Like, come up with ridiculous theories that Lem is random people. You know what I mean? One we didn't talk about last time. I should have brought up in the last Dany chapter. We'll bring it up now. I didn't even think about it. People think there's a big theory. I don't actually know how much people think this is true. It might be a meme theory.
Oh gosh, I can't wait to hear this tin hat theory.
Dario is blank.
Oh god,
you want to try and take a guess?
Dario is I have no clue.
Euron Greyjoy.
No.
One of the main theories for this
That might be the
is that
stupidest
he
thing
has
I've ever.
He has all this dyed hair, so like it would be really easy to just like wash that shit out and then kind of look very different. The other thing, again, I think this is very. I don't really agree with this, and I don't actually know how accepted this is, but I think it might be a meme theory. There's also a theory that Dario is Euron, is Benjen. They're all the same. They're all the same.
Stop it. I'm done listening to.
That one's great.
Let's move on.
I think that one's way crazy. The main point is people make jokes that in Game of Thrones that like we've had too much time that people have made theories that anybody who could be anybody, like anybody it's like the whole Batman thing. Like, have you ever seen me and Batman in a room at the same time? No. It's like,
yeah.
There you go. It's like that's just going on way too much with Game of Thrones.
Next thing is you're gonna tell me Strong Belwas is King Rob.
The thing is that doesn't make sense because we're seeing them like kind of at the same time. We never see we see Benjen way before we see Dario, and by the time we see Euron, Dany has sent Dario. This is actually where the theory comes from. By the time we see Euron, Dany has sent Dario away, I think, and then Euron fucks off for a while, maybe in the Iron Islands, and that's when we see Dario again with Dany.
Move on. Is this lady a Children of the Forest? Is she actually 1,000 years old?
I don't think so. Just because we've seen like Leaf, we've seen actual Children of the Forest, and they look completely different. So I think she is a magic-y person, but not the Children of the Forest. So I'll give you the background. What we know about this woman, and when I say we know, it's like very accepted in the fandom. That pretty much what happens is we hear that there's a woods witch who is friends with Aegon's. All right, Aeg becomes king. Right, Aegon the Fifth. Mm-hmm. He has a son. Do you know Aeg's eldest son's name?
It's probably Aegon.
Duncan. Names his eldest son Duncan.
Okay.
This Duncan gets betrothed to a Baratheon girl. Aeg betroths him to a Baratheon girl. But he falls in love. Duncan, who's called Duncan the Small, or Duncan, Lord of Dragonflies, I think. He falls in love with Jenny of Oldstones.
Oh, the song.
Who Jenny song's about. So Duncan falls in love with Jenny of Oldstones, but he's betrothed to a Baratheon. Aeg married for love. Mm-hmm. So Aeg says, I married for love. I can't tell you not to marry for love. But if you do, you're not king. Like, we need this Baratheon alliance. You're really fucking me over. If you
bail, you're out. You're not the heir.
Exactly. And he's like, all right, I'm out. And he goes and he's with Jenny of Oldstones.
Easy
The
decision.
Ghost of Iheart is Jenny of Oldstone's like best friend. Right. So that's kind of how all of these things tie in.
That's why she wants to listen to Jenny's song?
Yes. Because Jenny and Duncan died at Summerhall. So back in the day, pre-Summerhall times, when Jenny and the Ghost of Highheart, who they called the Woods Witch back then, and Duncan, I guess, were hanging out, she would actually come to court, the Ghost of Highheart. And I forget who she told, but she told somebody, maybe Ares, that the prince that was promised would come from their line, right? This whole prophecy that the prince that would promise would come from the line of Ares and Rhaella came from the Ghost of Iheart, the Woods Witch, back in the day. She was telling, like, I kind of joked about this with Kyle earlier. Like, was she back in court just giving them prophecies? She was just back in court giving them prophecies.
How do we know all this? This is confirmed, or this is fan theory?
A lot of this we find out later from Barristan and Dany. Dany's asking, like, tell me about stuff, and he's like, okay, yeah, there was a Woods Witch, like, who showed up at court and stuff like that. So.
And different Woods Witch that Cersei runs into?
Yes, exactly. That's another good point. They're very similar. Both really old ladies, but yeah, different Woods Witch. We've heard a little bit about the Woods Witch that Cersei runs into already. We hear that, I forget exactly how it's related, but Sibel Spicer, right, is Westerling's mom.
Right.
The Spicers married this Woods Witch. A Woods Witch came over from Essos.
Yeah, I do remember. I remember that in the chapter.
Yeah, so there's a Woods Witch somehow in Gene Westerling's family line with the Spicer branch. I think that's connected somehow. I might be a little
So she's actually just like a 90-year-old lady.
Exactly. 90-year-old magic lady. The way I see it is she's like a Melisandre, but for the old gods.
Do you think she's got like a old god necklace that she's actually like should be dead without the necklace type thing?
I don't think so. I think she's just really old.
Do you think Melisandre's old as dirt?
She doesn't need to be that old. Like if she's like, say she's 20 during Summerhall time, she'd be like 60 now. So I think she
Ares Egg's kid?
Ares
Mad King?
Egg's son is Egg's second son. So Duncan the Small says this. The only reason I gave that whole timeline was to connect to get to the Ghost of Highheart, but we'll continue it a little bit. The one after that is Jaehaerys the second. Egg's second son is Jaehaerys the second, he only reigns for 3 years. They actually wrote him out. So this is weird. This is a really weird point. So I'll continue a little bit for a second, then I'll go back on this. Jaehaerys II, his 2 children are Aerys and Rhaella, and they get married. Aerys II, the Mad King, and Rhaella,
Mad King,
who have Rhaegar. Dany.
Why wasn't Jaehaerys at Summerhall?
He was. Jaehaerys died. I don't know why Jaehaerys wasn't at Summerhall. He might have. Again, some people survive Summerhall. Dunk saved some people.
Yeah.
So he might have been saved.
We don't even know.
Actually, it might be because since he was
The
Aegon's
last
king,
heir.
Jaehaerys was heir, so he would have been Lord of Dragonstone. So he might have been a Dragonstone.
But didn't they call all the dragons to Summerhall?
They did try to call the dragons. I'm not sure.
Jaehaerys ignored the call.
It might be like there must always be a Targaryen and Dragonstone thing. I don't think so, but
Yeah.
kind of like
All
Stark and whatever.
All right, let's get into this Crone's visions.
Did I finish what I was saying there? I forget.
I don't know. Something about Jaehaerys being written out of the book.
Oh, yeah. So the point I wanted to circle back to was Jaehaerys only rules for 3 years before Aerys takes over. It basically, I think he rules during the War of the Nine Penny Kings, which doesn't really matter. It's a war that Barristan pops off in. But they cut him out of the book or out of the show just because like it kind of makes things simpler. Like, and really the only time he's referenced, I think, is when Aemon's talking to Jon about like, and they killed my brother and my father's brother. You know what I'm talking about? When he's talking about like, Jon's like, you don't know. And Aemon, Maester Aemon's like, I do know. When they came and they killed my son and my I forget what he says, my brother and my brother's son and his son. They just cut out Jaehaerys there because his brother is Aegon. Aegon's son is Jaehaerys. Mm-hmm. In the books, he says he killed my brother. They killed my brother's son, Jaehaerys. They killed my brother's grandson, who's Aerys. And they killed my brother's great-grandson. In the show, they just made it simpler and they only went to grandson, right? They just cut Jaehaerys out because he only rules for 3 years. Doesn't really matter at all. The reason I say this is important is because in House of the Dragon,
Yes.
there was an article. I don't know how much credence there is to this, but they said that I think there was an article that said like George had all the say he wanted, and there was like 3 main points that he told them he wanted them to include in House of the Dragon. One, he wanted them to make the banners brighter, so like not so much dull colors, like really bright yellow, really bright green, really like make it vibrant. Same thing with the dragons, make them really distinct and colorful. And the third thing was include Jaehaerys the second back in the show canon. It's like, why the fuck does that matter? This guy doesn't seem... He ruled for 3 years. Like, we don't really know shit about him except
We're
for...
like so far away from him too, aren't we?
And House of the Dragon is so far before him. Like, there was no mention of him in this season. But like, why is that a thing that was important? And again, maybe this was blown out of proportion by that article, but it's just something that sticks in my head is like, why does George care so much about Jaehaerys II? But yeah, you're right. Let's get into
this Crone's visions stuff. Did we already? I don't remember reading about. I guess we did. Euron or
the Crow
Greyjoy taking the spill.
Oh, that's true. She tells them in this chapter. I didn't think about this. She tells them in this chapter that the Kraken king is dead.
We haven't read that chapter yet, have we?
No, but she tells them that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Kyle's already...
But last chapter, the vision she gave them was about that. Right? Last time she gave them a vision about that. This time she confirms it. They haven't pieced together that it's the same thing, but that's exactly what happened.
But has it... we haven't read about that yet.
How would we read about it? We're only going to get news of it. We're only going to get news of it. We're not going to see it. We don't have Balon or Euron chapters.
Damp hair chapter.
And it's not even Euron. Like, it's a faceless man. The theory is that Euron paid a faceless man. That's what it is. Like, I see a man without a face with a crow, with a one-eyed crow with seaweed on its wings on a bridge that swung. People think that means a faceless man paid for by Euron because he's a one-eyed...
Yeah. Doesn't he have a bird? Does he have a bird?
They call him the crow's eye.
Oh.
He only has one eye. So one-eyed crow with seaweed. Like, even Kyle put down... That's
I mean that Kyle put it together so quickly. I was like, "Fuck! Did we read that chapter already?" Like,
he didn't actually. Yeah,
he only thinks that it's Asha and Theon fighting for it, though. I think you were pushing a little too hard that Theon could be dead.
He could be dead. We've never seen a character not get chapters, and the thing is, by halfway through Feast, he's gonna believe me.
All right, what about the goat?
We don't see Theon until Dance.
He's gonna
believe that Theon's dead eventually.
You keep bringing him up and saying like, "Oh, he could be dead," and he's gonna be like Shut up, Nelson.
Next chapter, when we get next book, I literally don't think we know that Theon's alive till Dance. In next book, Feast, we get Asha, we get Victarion, we get we get Aeron, Dampere.
Mm-hmm.
We get all those people, and they all think Theon's dead. I think
once they start saying,
whole book
like,
of people thinking
once we start hearing that my brother's dead, but like he hasn't heard that yet, so he doesn't even think Theon's dead at this moment.
That's where it was kind of left off, though. It was like he was being captured by a guy who's killing everybody. And
yeah, but we already know
that
we already know that you keep hostages, like you keep the.
Actually, now that I think about it,
rich hostages.
Rob and Kat have already heard something about Theon, right?
I don't.
They got
recall.
news about Winterfell. I just don't know exactly what they know about Theon. But you're right. We're getting a little bit off topic. Let's go back to the vision.
Yes.
I dreamt the wolf howling in the rain, but no one heard his grief.
What about the goat? What about the goat in the hall?
The goat in the hall's Vargo.
Well, what dog is this? Is it the mountain?
It's the mountain. The mountain's coming to get him.
I don't remember what they did. Does he just kill him?
He cuts off his limbs. You know how Vargo likes cutting off people's, like, and giving them stumps? That's why Qyburn's so good at dealing with stumps. The mountain does that to Vargo and starves him and makes him eat himself.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happens to Vargo.
All right, wolf howling in the wind in the rain. Is that Bran? I
think this one goes with the next one, but I might be wrong actually.
Bunch of noise, but so it's so you're telling me it's Grey Wind out crying.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
While they died to the rains of Castamere. Was it raining that night?
Yeah. I don't want to say it, but when Kyle was like, "It's raining," that connects us to the north. I'm like,
I didn't know. I didn't remember that it was raining during the Red Wedding.
I don't know. I don't know if it's rained during the Red Wedding, but like the next Cat chapter, which is like her on the way to the Red Wedding, it's like pouring. Like, and Jamie, I bet you it's raining in his next chapter. It's just like raining all through the Riverlands right now for like a while.
Okay. I am all over the maid at the feast with purple serpents in her hair.
So what's weird is, hold on, let's go back to this one, the Red Wedding, because I'm not sure about it, because the Little Bells throws me off, because Little Bells does make me think of Dany.
Yeah,
and I don't remember Little Bells at the Red Wedding.
We don't know that the bells in her hair are little, do we? Could they be big bells in her hair?
Yeah, I think she says like the tinkling of her bell, like when she rides, she has like the tinkling that implies little bells.
Maybe, but sad little bells.
This is most likely a Red Wedding, and I'm just gonna just makes me think like keep an eye out for bells at the Red Wedding. If not, maybe this is something else. So you said you're all over the purple serpents one.
A maid at a feast with purple serpents in her hair, venom dripping from their fangs.
Yep.
So that's obviously Sansa.
Yes, agreed.
I'm gonna say that the Dornish are actually in cahoots with this plan. Why would it be purple serpents?
It's purple amethyst.
It's purple because of the necklace.
Hairnet. It's a hairnet in the books, but yeah,
whatever.
Same principle. I don't know. Purple amethyst.
Why would it be a venomous snake? Why couldn't it be like a venomous spider or?
I don't know. I mean,
the Dornish are plugged in.
I mean, Oberyn says to Tyrion when he goes to meet him in the cell, like, if it wasn't for you being blamed immediately, I probably would have been like the most likely suspect, being the poison expert for killing Joffrey. But there is the theory that he tried to kill Tywin. I don't think the serpents mean much towards Dorne, but I mean, it's not even their sigil. Right, it's just Oberyn, but I guess he would be the main guy, right?
He's
Oberyn
the only person associated with a snake right now, so
that's true.
I'm saying he's got a.
But what about this next one? And later, I dreamt that maid again, slaying a savage giant in a castle built of snow.
I remember in the show she builds a snow castle, and then
that happens in the books.
So she smacks Robin, and then Lysa gets pushed out of the moon door.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the books, even when Robin's like stomping on it, he's using his doll. He has like a doll or something, and he's like smashing the castle. Maybe it's even him, and he's like, "I'm a giant, I'm a giant, I'm a giant." Like when he's doing it. So a lot of people think that that's it. A lot of people think that is. I'm in this camp. I think that's George giving himself an out in case he can't figure out how to make this happen later. So that if like if he can't figure out how to make Sansa slay a giant. But the other big theory is that Littlefinger's sigil is the Titan of his sigil is the Mockingbird, right? But his father's sigil is the Titan of Bravos.
Interesting.
So people think that Littlefinger could kind of be the giant and a castle built of snow be Winterfell.
Would
And then
be
if you look at
Winterfell
how
at the
the
end.
show went, she kills him in a castle.
Has
built of
anybody
snow.
said like Sansa actually like taking down Jon in like a crazy way? Like Jon when Jon gets revived and he like becomes King of the North type of shit.
Well, yeah, like I said, we've had way too long. I'm sure there have been theories about everything at this point, but I don't know that. I don't think I've heard that one. The ones that I said are just, I know the main popular theories is that she's going to kill Littlefinger in Winterfell somehow, and the giant connection there is because through his dad's sigil. Again, I think that's a little bit far fetched. I think the Robin Aaron and Aerie thing makes sense, but compared to these other things that she's predicting here, right?
I mean, if anything, it just kind of. Sorry.
The Ghost of High predicting like really big things, like the Red Wedding and the Purple Wedding, and then Sansa playing with Sweet Robin and the Eyrie. Like, it just doesn't fit. So it makes more sense if it's like, oh, Sansa killing Littlefinger. That's like a big
yeah, but that's so far away though.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It's got to be far away. I'm saying it's too far.
The first time Arya met the Ghost of High she predicted Cat floating in the river. Luckily, Kyle didn't linger on that one too long, but one of the things she said was a woman who was a fish floating down a rushing river. So
yeah,
kind of weird.
But that could be traveling. They could be traveling.
That's right. It was something about blood on her cheeks, but okay.
All right, so she's all freaked out because of Arya is about to become a Bravosi assassin.
Yeah. Like we said, maybe because she has killed a bunch of people, but yeah, also probably because she will kill a lot more people.
You know what? Another thought I had was that at one point she's going to, just because the crone is like, I had enough grief at Summerhall, and I was kind of thinking like she had that grief because she saw a whole house basically die.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
That because Arya is going to kill every Frey that's left at some point.
Oh, I thought you were going the other way. That like all the Starks were going to die.
No, I was saying that at one point Arya
she was going to be the cause of it. Yeah, gotcha. That's interesting too. I mean, most people don't think that Arya will take out the Freys in the books. Most people think that was Arya filled the role of Lady Stoneheart, and that Lady Stoneheart's going to somehow pull off the annihilation of the Freys. But I don't hate it.
All right, let's get on Ned Dane.
Yep.
Whose kid is he?
We actually don't know his dad's name. That's the thing. Is like we don't know very much about the Danes at all. Pretty much we've heard probably 50%, maybe a little more about everything we know about the Danes already. So we don't even know his dad's name. I think the only time we hear his aunt's name is in this chapter. Maybe 2 or 3, maybe one other time. It's not Ashara, the other aunt, Ilaria, the one who's betrothed to Beric. Mm-hmm. We really just don't know that much about him. But it's interesting that they call him Ned. Like, Ned supposedly killed Arthur Dane.
Right. Why would they honor Ned for killing their uncle?
Yeah. Edric was born afterwards. It's not like they didn't name him Eddard, but they call him Ned.
Right.
So like you wouldn't call just you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. So it doesn't make sense that they are not on good terms.
They could have called him Ricky for all we know, like instead of Ned.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know. Maybe Ned's just a Beric nickname, but people take a lot of heed to that. They're called the same thing.
What do you think? Tell me your tin hat theory on the kid.
So I'll tell you the main.
Wrap up him and Ashara Dane.
Main theory for Edric is that he was going to be really important. That George originally at this point in the story had planned to do a 5-year time gap after Storm of Swords before Feast of Crows. At which point Edric would be like 17, like capable, kind of from child to full grown adult almost, right, in this world. Mm-hmm. At which point he would play the Dark Star role down in Dorne, right? Arianne tries to take Marcella, make her queen. Dark Star slices her and escapes. And the thought is he's going to go take Dawn from Starfall, and then that's how Dawn kind of gets in play, right? That's how Dawn gets in
He's the Lord of Starfall, though. He's already the Lord.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you get the sword, right? It's not like a family heirloom. It only goes to Danes that are deemed worthy.
You need to be worthy.
Exactly. So Darkstar is going to, the theory is he's going to claim himself worthy and then steal the sword. We don't know exactly how that works. We don't know like who's the one that decides if you're worthy or not. Is it the Lord? Does the Lord decide who's worthy? Like, can he decide he's worthy? We don't know exactly how that works. So, but we think that that's going to be his Darkstar's role. And a lot of people have said Darkstar would not exist if the 5-year time gap happened, because then we'd have a like grown man, like young man, a Dane. But because George cut the 5-year time gap, he's like, crap, I need a new Dane to do the to get Dawn in play.
And that's where
Darkstar came from. And because of that,
I don't know, why
doesn't
couldn't
really have doesn't have like a point in the story anymore. That doesn't mean that George won't think of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he likes to kind of let it flow and figure out what happens, but he might just be no more than a squire. Now that Darkstar's kind of filling the plot device that he was supposed to fill. It's kind of the theory.
Is that
the main
and
theory.
you said that he confirmed that was the point, or that's just what
No. I think that's just a theory. Yeah, I think that's just a theory.
Oh.
Well, George has confirmed that he wanted to do a 5-year time gap. That like when he was writing Storm of Swords, he was planning to do a 5-year time
So
gap.
then
But I think even when
why would Edric Dane need a 5-year time gap type of thing?
Well, just the reason he wanted a 5-year time gap originally was because he wanted some characters to just like be able to develop. Like it doesn't make sense how Arya is going to go to Bravos, chill for half a year with the Faceless Men, and then come back and be a badass. If she went and spent 5 years, makes a little more sense. Bran, if he goes up north and chills for 6 months with
and sits in the tree for 5 years,
and he becomes amazing wizard after 6 months, kind of far fetched. If he's chilling there for 5 years, makes a little more sense. And I think he tried it. I think he wrote probably hundreds of pages, knowing George, with a 5-year time gap. And then there was one or two characters who was like, this just doesn't make sense. Like, what the fuck is Tyrion doing for 5 years after he kills his dad? You know what I mean? Like, I can't. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what to do with him. So why
can't he have just got to Dany quicker?
He could have made filler, but he might have been deciding like, you know what, like this book is half filler, me making up bullshit for characters to do that don't really have an impact on the story.
Tyrion's storyline just to get into the same area as Dany right now is like that. Reading those chapters is like, I haven't read it in a long time, but I just remember like.
I like those chapters.
I'm just like, what the hell are we doing here? Why is he like hanging out with the pig girl?
I think it's one of those things where when you read the books and you're like a huge show fan, some stuff that's new you really like because it adds to what you already know. Like right when you learn about Ashara, that's like it's like another layer to the whole Ned, Lyanna, Rhaegar thing. But then when when you get to Feast of Crows and you're reading Aeron, Victarion, Asha chapters, Arian Martell, and you're like, it's all completely shit that's not in the show at all. It feels like a slog because you're like, I don't care. Get back to the. Right. I want the show with extra content. I don't want the completely random shit.
I might care more. The second time around, but
exactly. I think it'll probably work like that. When you know what you're expecting a little more, you're not getting. You're gonna get stuff that's not in the scope of the show at all. Then it's not as like such of a slog.
Yeah. All right. Is Ashara dead? What do you think? Is she the girl with Jon Con?
Septa Lemore. So yeah, even you know that one. That's the main theory. That's one of the main theories for who Ashara is. I think one of the other ones is Quaithe. People think Quaithe could be Ashara. I think I don't think that. I think Quaithe's probably Sierra Seastar, who we don't have to get into who that is because we're going too long. But I think I don't know what my thoughts on that are. Septa Lemore is who you're talking about. I think it's plausible. I'd have to it's been a while since I reread Dance. Let's talk about little Shara a little more. She kills herself. Okay. The one theory is she killed herself over grief of
losing Ned or losing a baby.
The other one, no, we haven't heard about the baby yet.
We haven't heard about it. We know about it. Me and you know about it.
Me and you know that I don't even know where exactly we hear this, but it's probably Barristan. Barristan probably tells Dany that Ashara killed herself after losing a baby. Mm-hmm. So there's 3 theories. I think the one that she killed herself because of heartbreak, the one that Edric says here that doesn't make sense. Like Arya says, that's a Sansa. That's Sansa.
I don't think killing herself.
I agree with Arya that it's I think it's a little bit Sansa fantasy that like you would. Oh my gosh, Ned left me. I'm gonna jump off this tower. But I think the other ones are more plausible. That she maybe was so overcome with grief after her brother.
You think because of the brother is more plausible?
I do think the brother is more plausible. Is that just crazy talk, you think?
I disagree with you there.
Yeah? I think the baby is the most plausible of all. I think the most plausible actual thing is that she didn't kill herself at all. She is alive and well somewhere. She's somebody else. This is one of the people that I do buy as a mystery person somewhere. Because they never found the body. We hear later specifically that they never found a body.
She didn't jump off, I think is 1. 2 would be baby. 3 would be heartbroken. 4 would be brother.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. for Ashara. I mean, we'll definitely hear more about it later. What I was saying before is there's kind of, if Ashara had a baby, right, the theory, what we hear about it is that it died. But if it didn't die, then there's a mystery baby out there, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe Lyanna had a baby in the Tower of Joy, mystery baby out there, right? And then Wyla is having milk, so maybe
she
mystery
had to
third baby. That one might not matter, though. She might have just had like a random baby who's running around the streets of Starfall. But you got the two mystery babies.
Or she could have just been a milk lady at the castle.
Exactly. But then, well, she had to have had a baby at some point, right? You can't
but
just
I'm
make
saying
milk
if
with
she
no
could
baby.
have, it could have been 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and
she could.
just
Yeah,
didn't.
okay. But the thought is like, who is Jon Con? Is Jon Con not Jon Con? Fagon. Is Fagon actually Aegon? Right. So Varys says he swapped a baby and took Aegon from Elia Martell, Rhaegar's son, and that's who Aegon is. The fans think it's Fagon. They think that most people think it's a Blackfire that Varys, for some reason, is interested in, or Illyrio is interested in. Maybe Illyrio's
But then there's
son.
also a baby that needed. There's also a baby that the Malin had to kill.
Exactly. But Varys says he just took like an orphan from Flea Bottom. There's a lot of theories on this. I don't want to go into the crazy ones. I've heard one that Ned and Ashara's baby, they swapped with Ilya's baby. So Ilya and Ashara were really good friends, right? So
Yes.
What if Ned had a son with Ilya?
What?
Who looked like a Targaryen baby? No, Ned had a son with Ashara.
Okay.
Who looked like a Targaryen baby.
Because the
Blonde
Danes
hair.
look Targaryen.
Because Danes can look that way. And then what if Ilya had a son with Rhaegar, or who looked
Starkish?
Dornish, black hair. Yeah, exactly, black hair. And then when shit started popping off, Ned and Ashara switched their baby with Rhaegar and Ilya's baby for the same reason that Jon swaps the babies in the North. Because if shit pops off and Robert finds out that this is just Ned and Ashara's baby, he won't kill it. But if he finds out that it's actually Rhaegar's baby, he will kill it because Robert's killing all babies, right? The reason Jon swaps the babies in the North, Mance's baby and Craster's baby, is because the Red Woman, Melisandre, is trying to burn King's blood. So take the King's blood, get it out of here, and let's keep the bastard Craster's baby who nobody cares about. Because then if she says, I'm going to burn the baby for King's blood, Jon will say, haha, joke's on you, it's Craster's. I sent that one away. So people think that's why they think it's a parallel is how this happens. I don't really believe this. I think it's an interesting theory, though. And then that's why Ned gets so mad after the Mountain kills the babies, because it's his fucking baby. He can't tell Ned that. He can't tell Robert that. He just wants to keep the truth to himself. Yeah. But the Mountain, I don't buy this. But there's
I don't remember Ned getting so angry about it, though.
Him and Robert didn't speak for years after that because Robert was okay with the killing the babies.
Gotcha.
Actually, they had a fight. Ned left. They had a fight. Ned left to get the siege, and then they had another fight after Lyanna, I think, after the Lyanna thing.
Gotcha.
But
all right, you just confused me so much about whose baby could be who.
So that's the point. Is there's so many theories about whose babies are who. There's so many people that could have had babies, like Lyanna's baby, Ilya's baby, Ashara's baby. Does Ashara even have a baby? That's why there's so much to it. I don't know how much we want to. We've already been going too long in the chapter, so we're not going to talk anymore about the babies in this one. But I'm sure we'll get into specifics in different chapters that point to more specific potential outcomes. I have one more. When Beric says fire consumes, George has said before that Beric is like a fire white.
Okay.
And at one point, Maester Aemon says fire consumes, ice preserves, or something along those lines. Which just makes me wonder that, like, you know how Beric, when he comes back and he's like, I'm less than myself, I'm less than myself, I'm less than myself. If Jon comes back, will he have not that much of the same effect? Because the way he's being brought back is with, like, ice magic? Well, I guess the theory is Jon will be brought back with fire magic, too, which would be the same thing. But yeah, I was thinking, like, if Jon, because he was at the wall, I guess, came back with ice magic. But
he's just
a
little bit colder than Beric.
Which doesn't make sense, right? Because when Beric comes back to life, he at least remembers some things about himself. When the whites come back to life, they don't remember shit.
I mean, do we know that?
We know that they remember enough, because when the two whites came alive, they went to Jeremy Riker and Jorah Mormont's rooms, who were 1 and 2. Jeremy Riker was replacing Bedget Stark, and Jorah was number 1. Giora was number 1. So they remember enough, but they don't seem to be, like, they're not walking around saying, like, hey, guys, hey, all you guys I used to know, like Barrick is.
Do you think that they're hive mind? Do you think they're hive minds?
When George says Barrick's a fire white, it makes me think that it's like very similar what's happening between the Barrick and what's happening with the whites. But this type of thing makes me not agree with that so much. Like if fire consumes the nice preserves, then you'd think when somebody comes back from white magic, they'd be very, very similar for them. Like you'd be able to be brought back 20 times before you have the same effects Barrick's feeling. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Kind of confused on it, but it makes me wonder what John's going to be like when he comes back, and if it's going to depend on the type of magic that's used to bring him back. But yep, that's all I got. But all right, thanks for listening to this extremely long episode. We'll see you guys in the next one. For Jamie,
this might be a 2 workouter for you guys.
Yeah, it's a long workout. I hope you weren't on the treadmill for this one. Bye bye.